Hey everybody, welcome to the second installment of the Warrior Fasting System. In this video, I'm going to specifically address what's called time-restricted eating. You may also know it as TRE or time-restricted fasting, TRF. They're one and the same. But before I get to that, I want to clear the air on something. Honestly, all forms of fasting are intermittent fasting. So if someone's doing time-restricted eating, they often say, hey, I'm doing intermittent fasting, and they're walking down the streets talking to everybody about it and saying, yeah, it's working great, I'm doing intermittent fasting. But in all honesty, all forms of fasting are really intermittent fasting. Even if you're doing a 5-day fast, you're eventually going to break the fast and you're going to start eating again. So just know that when you're doing fasting, it's alternating between periods of fasting and periods of eating, which is intermittent. It's like intermittent snow squalls in the wintertime where I grew up in Northeast Pennsylvania. We didn't have snow all the time. We had a snow squall here, a snow squall there, and then in between there was nothing. Fasting is much like that. It's all intermittent fasting. It's just different time frames. I just wanted to clear the air on that because a lot of people just consider time-restricted eating intermittent fasting, and that's not necessarily the case. It's just a form of intermittent fasting, as is everything else. So really, all of these videos I'm going to be doing and all these fasting protocols I'm going to be talking about are forms of intermittent fasting. It's all intermittent fasting. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's go back to time-restricted eating. This form of fasting is done on a daily basis where you eat in a shortened amount of time and you fast in a longer period of time. You can go all the way down to 12 hours of fasting and 12 hours of eating and still consider that time-restricted eating. In that situation, I would suggest having 3 meals, no snacks in between, if you're going for 12 hours. When you get to that point, you are scratching the surface of benefits. However, once the fasts that you do start to increase in time, the benefits start to climb as well. That's why a lot of people choose to do what's called the 16-8 protocol, that's very popular, or an 18-6 protocol. Those two protocols are probably the most two popular ones out there in the whole wide world of intermittent fasting. In those cases, for the 16-8, you fast for 16 hours, you eat in an 8-hour window. For 18-6, you fast for 18 hours, you eat in a 6-hour window. Now here's where it gets a little bit interesting and a little bit fuzzy, and this is something I want to clear the air on as well. My suggestion is if you're doing 16-8 or 18-6, just eat 2 meals with no snacks in between. Don't look at that 8-hour period or that 6-hour period as an eating frenzy where you just eat constantly through it. Remember, the key to fasting, and one of the main benefits of it, is the fact that you downregulate your blood sugar and your insulin levels. And by doing a longer fast than 12 hours, you're going to be able to keep your blood sugar levels and insulin levels stable and low. And if you start eating at, say, 10 in the morning and you finish at 5 in the afternoon, and you have 3 or 4 small meals throughout that whole time frame, you're spiking your blood sugar and your insulin levels high, and that's exactly what you don't want to do. That defeats the purpose of fasting overall. In those cases, your insulin will stay elevated that whole entire time that you're feeding. The idea is to spike your insulin once, let everything come back down, and then go right back up again, and then come right back down again. That's how your body is designed. That's based on the circadian rhythms, and that's how your organs function. Ideally, you want to do some kind of protocol between like 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., 10 and 5. I often do 11 and 6, 11 and 5. Sometimes, best case scenario, I even do like 10 and 3 or 10 and 4. And if it were up to me, I would do earlier time-restricted eating. Early time-restricted eating, also known as TRE, is performed by doing your first meal early in the day, like 7 or 8 a.m., and then finishing by like 3 p.m. in the afternoon. This has been known to show the most benefits when it comes to weight loss, blood sugar regulation, hormone optimization, and even blood pressure itself. I actually have a friend who's a doctor, Dr. Julie Schatzel, out in California, who has a bunch of patients that she started doing early time-restricted eating with, and she literally has gotten a lot of them off of their blood pressure medication. So a lot can be said about doing early time-restricted eating. And if you're really looking to lose weight, my suggestion is to go with that earlier window between like 7 and 3 or 8 and 4, or somewhere along those lines. And in the big picture, always try to do time-restricted eating as early in the day as you can anyway. It's just best for your body's organs, your hormones, your circadian rhythm, your brain function, weight loss, muscle maintenance, the whole 9 yards. As far as workouts and fitness are concerned with time-restricted eating, I would suggest working out first thing in the morning on an empty stomach in a fasted state after drinking just water. Say you work out at 5 a.m., and I know that's super early, but you have to decide on how serious you are about weight loss, muscle maintenance, and all the benefits you want to gain from fasting. If you are serious enough, and on a scale of 1 to 10, you're like an 8 or 9 or 10, then you're going to make the sacrifices to get it done, whatever it takes. So if you are able to work out first thing in the morning, even if it's 5 or 6 a.m., and you're doing an early time-restricted eating protocol, you can do your workout first and then eat right afterward at 7, 7:30, 8 o'clock, and then have a second meal maybe 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or even wait until like 1 or 2. And then you're still within that 7 to 3 window or 8 to 3 window or 8 to 4 window that I was mentioning earlier. And in that situation, if you work out like that over a period of time, your body will become fat adapted, your metabolism is going to go higher, your body is going to burn more fat for fuel when you're working out and throughout the course of the day. And that's when the magic really starts to happen, and that's when you gain momentum, and that's when time-restricted eating becomes a lot easier. And even if you don't follow the early time-restricted eating protocol, I still suggest working out first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. I particularly like working out somewhere in the 12 to 14-hour fasted zone. I feel I have the best workouts, I feel lighter, I can literally feel fat burning off my body when I'm working out. Yes, I do feel that. It's not me just being crazy. And I feel that has the best effect on my mood, my energy, all of my hormone function throughout the rest of the day. And I don't have that really bloaty feeling in my stomach or like massive stomach cramps or anything like that, which sometimes happens when you eat before a workout. In fact, it almost always does, especially if you eat close to the beginning of your workout. Overall, to recap, time-restricted eating is when you eat in a shorter period of time than the amount of time you're fasting on consecutive days in a row. It can be done for eternity. You can work out in a fasted state and not die. And one of the best ways to utilize it as a tool for weight loss is to do early time-restricted eating. And although I'm not a huge follower of studies because I think they can be skewed and I think they're sporadic and they're all over the place, there have been studies done on mice, I believe it was, who did time-restricted eating for 5 days a week, and then on the weekend, they ate anytime they wanted to. And then another group of mice did time-restricted eating all through the clock, 7 days a week, and they monitored the mice for 30 days. And at the end of the 30 days, both had similar results in blood markers, in improvements with cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, the whole 9 yards. In the event you absolutely want to eat anytime you want during the weekend, just know that you'll still get benefits if you do 5 days in a row of time-restricted eating. But I wouldn't suggest doing it once or twice a week. I don't think you're going to get the benefits that you're looking for. As with anything else, it always comes down to consistency in the end and seeing it through until you reach your goal and achieve what you want to achieve with your body. Okay, that's my talk on time-restricted eating. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I'll see you in the next video.